The emergency meeting room on Harmony Point Station buzzed with nervous energy. Representatives from 12 different species sat around the massive circular table. Their faces showed fear, confusion, and something else. The kind of worry that comes when you realize everything you thought you knew was wrong. Council leader Vex Tar stood at the center. His tall, blue-skinned frame cast shadows across the holographic displays. The images showed wreckage from 3 months ago. Twisted metal from Krellin warships floated in space like broken toys. "The reports are all the same," Vex Tar said. His voice echoed in the silent room. 30 Krellin battlecruisers attacked the human ship without warning. Every single Krellin vessel was disabled in under 10 minutes. Not destroyed, disabled. Ambassador Genara from the Elthari delegation leaned forward. Her people were known for their peaceful ways and careful thinking. "What troubles me most is how the humans stopped fighting the moment the Krellins surrendered. They could have destroyed the entire fleet. Instead, they sent medical aid." The Krellin representative, Commander Gorth, shifted uncomfortably in his seat. His warrior culture prized strength above all else. The memory of that day still haunted him. "My people call them the ghost killers now. They moved through our ships like they knew every weakness. But when we yielded, they helped repair our life support systems." Vex Tar activated another display. This one showed the Sol system, the human homeworld area. Massive construction projects surrounded their planets. Ships bigger than anything the galaxy had ever seen were being built, but these weren't warships. "Look closely at these images," Vex Tar continued. "Those are medical ships, hospital stations, evacuation vessels. The humans are building for refugees. Millions of refugees." The room grew quieter. Species that had fought wars for centuries found themselves united in their confusion about humanity. "What are they preparing for?" asked the Zenthari diplomat, her insect-like features clicking nervously. Before anyone could answer, the station's alert system activated. A soft chime indicated an incoming ship. The security officer's voice came through the speakers. "Council meeting. We have a small human transport requesting permission to dock. Single occupant. They're broadcasting diplomatic codes." Every being in the room tensed. Since the Krellin incident, no one had seen a human ship. They had simply vanished back to their corner of the galaxy. Now, one was here. "Grant permission," Vex Tar said after a moment. "But full security protocols. Scan everything." 20 minutes later, the meeting room doors opened. Dr. Minjun Park walked in alone. He was average height for a human, with dark hair starting to show gray at the edges. He wore simple clothes and carried nothing but a small bag containing data tablets. The security escort that brought him looked nervous. These were trained soldiers from 3 different species, and they were afraid of one unarmed human. Dr. Park bowed politely to the assembled council. When he spoke, his voice was calm and friendly. "Thank you for allowing me to come. I apologize for not making an appointment first." He walked to the center of the room and placed his bag on the table. Several representatives moved back instinctively. "I know you have questions about what happened with the Krellin fleet. I'll answer what I can. But first, I need to ask you something." "Doctor." Park looked around the room, meeting each alien gaze. "How much do you know about the Devourers?" The silence was complete. No one spoke for several seconds. Finally, Genara found her voice. "Devourers? I've never heard this term." Dr. Park nodded slowly. "I was afraid of that. We've been monitoring your long-range sensors. You've detected the anomalies in the outer rim, haven't you?" Commander Gorth spoke up. "Scout ships report strange readings. Entire star systems showing as empty. Not destroyed. Just gone." "They're not gone, Doctor," Park said quietly. "They've been eaten, consumed by machines older than your oldest civilizations. The Devourers don't just destroy matter. They erase it from existence completely. He opened his bag and pulled out a data tablet. With careful movements, he activated a holographic display. The image showed something that hurt to look at directly. It seemed to bend space around itself. This was taken by one of our deep space monitoring stations. The Devourers are moving toward populated space. They'll reach the Kepler sector in approximately 6 weeks. The Kepler sector contained 12 inhabited worlds. 3 billion souls called it home. Vextar's blue skin had gone pale. Dr. Park was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled, and somehow that smile was more frightening than any weapon. You don't fight them. We do. Your people? Genara asked. How many ships do you have? Enough. Dr. Park replied simply. We've been dealing with Devourers for a very long time. This isn't the first incursion we've handled. He paused and looked around the room again. The reason I'm here is to warn you. When we engage the Devourers, things might get interesting. Reality tends to behave strangely around them. We'll try to minimize the effects, but some of your people might experience temporary memory fluctuations or minor timeline disruptions. The casual way he mentioned timeline disruptions made several representatives dizzy. There's something else, Dr. Park continued. After we deal with the immediate threat, we need to talk. All of us. The galaxy is bigger and more dangerous than you know. The Devourers are just one type of threat out there. Commander Gorth leaned forward. Are you saying there are worse things? Dr. Park's smile faded. Much worse. Things that make Devourers look simple. But that's a conversation for later. Right now, we need to focus on saving the Kepler sector. He gathered his materials and prepared to leave. I'll return in 2 days with more detailed information about the evacuation procedures. In the meantime, I suggest you prepare your people for some very unusual news reports. As Dr. Park reached the door, Vextar called out. Dr. Park, may I ask you something? Of course. The stories about your people. The legends that call humans monsters. Are they true? Dr. Park paused in the doorway. When he turned back, his expression was sad. Council leader, monsters are what we hunt. The legends got that part backward. He left them sitting in stunned silence, contemplating a universe far more dangerous and strange than they had ever imagined. Outside, Dr. Park activated his communication device. Admiral Chen, this is Park. The council has been briefed. Begin. Phase 2 preparations. And Admiral, they're going to need a lot of hand-holding through this one. The reply was immediate and cheerful. Copy that, Doctor. The fleet's ready to show them how we handle a Tuesday. Both. Both. Fleet Commander Corthon stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Righteous Thunder. Around him, the largest joint investigation fleet in galactic history prepared to jump to the outer rim. Ships from 8 different species formed neat formations in space. All vessels report ready for hyperspace jump, announced his communications officer. Corthon nodded. The stars stretched into lines, then vanished completely. The fleet traveled through the strange non-space between dimensions for what felt like hours, but was only minutes. When they emerged, they found themselves at the edge of everything. The outer rim was supposed to contain the Vega system. 7 planets, including 2 garden worlds, with thriving colonies. Instead, they found empty space, not debris, not radiation signatures, nothing at all. Sensors aren't detecting any trace of the system, reported Science Officer HFY. Her tentacled face showed confusion. It's like it never existed. Corthon felt a chill run down his spine. Check the navigation logs. Are we in the right location? Confirmed. These coordinates should place us directly next to Vega Prime. But, sir. HFY paused, checking her readings again. The gravitational signatures are wrong. Space itself doesn't remember that planets were ever here. The joint fleet spread out, each ship scanning different areas. The reports that came back were all the same. Empty space, where star systems should be. But it was worse than that. The cosmic background radiation showed patterns that suggested reality itself had been altered. "Commander," called the communications officer, "we're receiving a priority transmission from the Elthari science vessel." The main screen activated, showing Captain Nelron of the research ship Thoughtful Inquiry. The usually calm Elthari looked terrified. "Commander Corthan, you need to see this. We found the edge of the affected zone." The screen switched to sensor data. In space ahead of them, something vast moved between the stars. It was hard to focus on directly. The ship's computers kept trying to process what they were seeing and failing. "What are we looking at?" Corthan asked. "We're not sure," Nelran replied. "The object appears to be artificial. It's approximately the size of a small moon, but its mass readings are impossible. It seems to weigh negative amounts in some areas." Suddenly, alarms started sounding across all ships in the fleet. The massive object had changed direction. It was moving toward them. "All ships, evasive maneuvers," Corthan ordered. "Maintain safe distance." But the thing in space didn't seem interested in attacking them. Instead, it moved to a nearby star system, the Kepler sector, home to 3 billion souls across 12 worlds. What happened next would haunt Corthan for the rest of his life. The object extended what looked like mechanical arms toward the first planet. When they made contact, the world simply stopped existing. Not exploded, not vaporized. It was there one moment, gone the next. The star charts automatically updated, removing all reference to the planet. Did we just forget that world existed?" whispered the communications officer. Yexhai checked her instruments frantically. "The computer logs show no record of a planet in that orbit, but I remember seeing it there just seconds ago." The object moved to the second world. The process repeated. An entire civilization erased not just from existence, but from memory. Only the fleet observers seemed able to remember what they had witnessed. "All ships, full reverse," Corthan ordered. But before they could move, space around them began to shimmer. Ships appeared out of hyperspace. Lots of ships. More ships than Corthan had ever seen in one place. They were human vessels. Each one was different from the others, as if they had been built by different groups with different ideas. Some looked sleek and modern. Others appeared to be converted cargo haulers. A few seemed to be held together with hope and spare parts. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Human Defense Fleet," came a voice over the General Communications channel. "Council forces, please clear the combat zone. We'll take it from here." Corthan activated his communication system. "Admiral Chen, that object has already consumed 2 worlds. It erased them completely from existence. Our weapons can't even scratch it." There was a pause before Admiral Chen replied. Her voice sounded almost bored. "Oh, you mean the Devourer?" "Yeah, we saw it on our sensors. Pretty small one, actually. We'll have this sorted out in a few hours." "Small?" Corthan couldn't believe what he was hearing. "That thing is the size of a moon." "Trust me, Commander. These things can get much bigger. This one's practically a baby." Admiral Chen's voice carried the tone of someone discussing a minor maintenance problem. "Doctor, Park sends his regards, by the way. He said you might want to observe from a safe distance. Educational purposes." The human fleet spread out around the Devourer in a pattern that seemed random but somehow felt organized. Instead of attacking, they began broadcasting signals toward the massive object. "What are they doing?" Yexhai asked, monitoring the transmissions. "They're talking to it?" Corthan said in disbelief. The Devourer stopped its consumption of the third planet and turned toward the human fleet. It responded with its own signals. mathematical sequences that somehow felt like language. "Admiral Chen," Corthan called. "What's happening?" "Just explaining proper procedure to our friend here. These devourers aren't evil, Commander. They're just following bad programming. Give us a few minutes to sort this out." As the joint fleet watched from their safe distance, the impossible happened. The devourer began to reverse its process. The consumed worlds reappeared exactly where they had been. 3 billion people continued their lives, completely unaware that they had been erased from existence for several minutes. The massive object then began moving away from the populated system. But instead of leaving entirely, it took position near a dying star and began what appeared to be maintenance work. "Admiral Chen to Council Fleet," came the human voice again. "Crisis resolved. The Devourer is back to its proper function as a stellar maintenance unit. It'll help extend that star's life by about 40,000 years." Corthan stared at his sensors in shock. The readings showed that the previously dying star was indeed becoming more stable. "How?" was all he could manage to say. Admiral Chen's response was cheerful. "Oh, this sort of thing happens all the time. Reality is pretty messy out here on the edge. Lots of broken machinery from previous civilizations. We just fix what we can and hope for the best." The human fleet began to disperse, some ships heading back toward human space while others moved to patrol different areas of the outer rim. "Admiral," Corthan called before they left. "How often do these incidents occur? The Devourer-class events? Maybe 6 or 7 times a year, though last month we had to deal with a quantum storm that was trying to rewrite the laws of physics. That was more complicated." As the human ships disappeared into hyperspace, Corthan found himself staring at empty space and trying to process what he had witnessed. The humans had treated a reality-eating cosmic horror like a broken appliance. They had fixed it with what appeared to be polite conversation and some kind of technical assistance. "Set course for Harmony Point," he ordered quietly. "The Council needs to know what we've seen." "Sir," Yexhai said hesitantly. "What exactly did we see?" Corthan thought about that for a long moment. "I think we just learned that the legends about humans might not be scary enough." Admiral Sarah Chen sat in her command chair aboard the human flagship Determined Response, sipping coffee from a mug that read, "Galaxy's okayest Admiral." Around her, the bridge crew worked with the casual efficiency of people handling a routine task. "Admiral, we have the Council observation fleet at safe distance," reported Lieutenant Torres from the communications station. "Good. Let them watch. They need to understand how this works." Chen activated the fleet-wide channel. "All ships, begin standard Devourer containment protocol. Remember, these things respond better to polite requests than force." Outside the viewport, the human fleet had arranged itself in a complex pattern around the reality-eating machine. To the watching Council forces, it looked like chaos. To Admiral Chen, it was Tuesday. "Dr. Martinez, are you ready with the linguistic interface?" Chen asked. A woman with graying hair and thick glasses looked up from her console. "Mathematical translation protocols are online, Admiral. I've identified this particular unit's base programming language. It appears to be ancient Vorthak script with some modifications." "Wonderful." Dr. Park was right about these being maintenance units originally. Through the speakers came the voice of Fleet Commander Corthan from the Joint Council Fleet. "Admiral Chen, that machine has already erased 2 worlds from existence. How are you planning to fight it?" "Evro." Chen pressed her communication button. "Oh, we're not fighting it, Commander. We're going to ask it nicely to put everything back." The silence that followed was so long that Chen wondered if the communication system had broken. "You're going to ask it?" Corthan finally said. "Sure. These devourers are actually pretty reasonable once you figure out how to talk to them. Dr. Martinez, please begin the conversation." Dr. Martinez activated her console. Complex mathematical equations appeared on the main screen, then transmitted toward the massive machine. To human eyes, they looked like formulas. To the devourer, they were words. The message roughly translated to, "Hello there, we notice you're consuming inhabited worlds. This appears to be outside your normal operational parameters. Could you please clarify your current programming status?" The devourer responded immediately. Its reply scrolled across the screen as Dr. Martinez translated. It says, "Doctor." Martinez paused, looking confused. "It says it's following standard garden maintenance protocols, removing unwanted growth from designated cultivation areas." Chen nodded. "Ask it when it last received a programming update." More mathematical exchanges followed. The answer made Dr. Martinez frown. "Admiral, it claims its last update was approximately 2 million years ago. It's been operating under emergency protocols since its home civilization disappeared." "There's the problem," Chen said, leaning back in her chair. "It thinks inhabited worlds are weeds in someone's garden." From the Council fleet, Commander Corthan's voice crackled with disbelief. "You're telling me this thing has been erasing civilizations because it thinks they're gardening problems?" "Pretty much," Chen replied. "Dr. Martinez, please upload the current galactic civilization registry to our friend. Let it know which planets are supposed to have people on them." "Transmitting now, Admiral." The data stream between the human fleet and the devourer lasted several minutes. During that time, the massive machine remained perfectly still. Finally, it responded. "It's apologizing," Dr. Martinez said, sounding amazed. "It wants to know if it can fix the mistake." "Of course it can. These things have perfect restoration protocols. Ask it to return the consumed worlds to their previous state." What happened next made the Council observers question everything they knew about reality. The devourer began to reverse its consumption process. Space warped and twisted in ways that hurt to look at directly. Then, suddenly, the missing worlds reappeared exactly where they had been, on the surface of those restored planets. 3 billion people continued their daily lives, without any awareness that they had been briefly erased from existence. Their clocks hadn't even stopped. "Admiral Chen," came another voice from the Council fleet. This time, it was Ambassador Genara. "How did you know it would cooperate?" Chen finished her coffee before answering. "Experience. We've been dealing with broken ancient technology for about 800 years now. Most of it isn't malicious, just confused." 800 years? Corthan sounded faint. "Oh, yes. Earth's been getting visitors for a while. Usually broken machines following outdated programming. We've learned it's easier to fix them than fight them." Lieutenant Torres looked up from his station. "Admiral, the Devourer is requesting new work assignments. It wants to know if we have any stellar maintenance tasks available." I, I, Chen smiled. "Patch me through to Galactic Survey. See if they have any dying stars that need attention." While her crew handled the bureaucratic details of giving a cosmic horror machine a new job, Chen opened a private channel to Dr. Park, who was aboard one of the other human ships. "Nice work with the Council briefing, Doctor. They're taking this better than expected." Dr. Park's voice came through clearly. "They're still in shock. I don't think they've processed what they're seeing yet. Give them time. Remember the first time you saw Dad fix a broken time stream? I was 12 and thought reality was supposed to be consistent, Doctor." Park chuckled. "Speaking of which, we're getting reports of temporal anomalies in the Rigel sector. Probably another broken causality engine." Chen sighed. "Schedule it for next week. We've got that quantum storm in the Andromeda spiral to deal with first." "Copy that. Should I warn the Council about the storm? Let's see how they handle today's events first. Don't want to overwhelm them." The conversation was interrupted by Lieutenant Torres. "Admiral, we have confirmation. The Devourer has accepted assignment to the Kepler Sector Stellar Maintenance Program. It's already begun work on extending the local sun's lifespan. Through the viewport, Chen could see the massive machine moving toward the system's star. Instead of consuming it, the devourer began carefully adjusting solar output and clearing harmful radiation buildup. Excellent. Send our thanks to the unit and let it know where to submit weekly progress reports. Chen activated the channel to the Council fleet one more time. Commander Corthon. Crisis resolved. The devourer is back to its proper function. Your local star should now burn stable for about 40,000 years longer than expected. Admiral Chen, Corthon said slowly. May I ask how often your people deal with situations like this? Chen glanced at her schedule display. Reality eaters? Maybe half a dozen times per year. Though we had a busy month recently. Last Tuesday we had to convince a sentient black hole to stop eating trade routes. Friday was that incident with the quantum storm I mentioned. And don't get me started on the philosophical debate we had to mediate between two abstract mathematical concepts. The silence from the Council fleet stretched for nearly a minute. Finally, Ambassador Gennara spoke. Admiral, are you saying that threats like this are routine for humanity? Pretty much. Reality gets weird when you live on the edge of known space. Lots of broken machinery from previous civilizations out here. We just try to fix what we can and keep things running smoothly. Arcant. Chen looked at her chronometer. If there's nothing else, we need to head back. It's pizza night on Luna Station, and my daughter gets cranky if I miss family dinner. As the human fleet prepared to depart, Chen couldn't help but smile at the shocked silence from the Council ships. They were good people, but they had no idea how strange the universe really was. Torres, remind me to send the Council a copy of our Standard Operating Procedures Manual. They're going to need it. The emergency session on Harmony Point Station had been going for 6 hours. Representatives from every major species sat around the table, trying to process what they had witnessed in the Kepler sector. Coffee cups and the alien equivalent of energy drinks littered the surface between data tablets and holographic displays. Fleet Commander Corthon rubbed his tired eyes. Let me make sure I understand this correctly. The humans treated a reality-eating cosmic horror like a broken maintenance robot. They fixed it by asking it politely to stop consuming civilizations. That's correct, confirmed Dr. Park, who had returned to answer the flood of questions. He looked remarkably calm for someone explaining the impossible. Ambassador Gennara leaned forward. Dr. Park, Admiral Chen mentioned that humanity has been dealing with these threats for 800 years. What kind of world produces people who consider reality eaters a minor inconvenience? Dr. Park was quiet for a moment, considering his words carefully. That's a complicated question. Earth isn't like other worlds. We didn't evolve in a safe, stable environment. He activated a holographic display showing Earth's solar system. But something was wrong with it. Space around Earth seemed to shimmer with strange distortions. This is real-time imaging of our home system. What you're seeing are quantum fluctuations, dimensional weak points, and what we call reality storms. Earth sits at the intersection of several cosmic anomalies. The assembled representatives stared at the display. Commander Gorth, the Krellin warrior, spoke first. Your homeworld exists inside active dimensional instabilities. Among other things, Dr. Park nodded. We also have frequent visits from time travelers who get lost. Sentient mathematical equations that sometimes try to redefine the laws of physics, and abstract concepts that occasionally gain consciousness and attempt to restructure reality. Science Officer Yexhai checked the readings twice before speaking. Dr. Park, according to these scans, the space around your world should be uninhabitable. The dimensional stress alone should prevent any stable matter from existing. Yes, it should, Doctor. Park agreed. We've learned to live with it. Actually, we've learned to work with it. Most of what you call cosmic threats are just normal Tuesday afternoon challenges for human children. He changed the display to show a human school. Young humans, no more than 10 years old, were calmly working on what appeared to be homework. But their assignments involved things like calculate the proper mathematical response to prevent reality collapse, and essay topic, how to politely negotiate with angry time streams. This is a standard elementary school on Luna Colony, Dr. Park explained. The children are learning basic dimensional stability, mathematics, and introductory cosmic diplomacy. The room fell silent except for the hum of the station's life support systems. Council leader Vex Tar finally found his voice. Dr. Park, are you telling us that human children routinely handle threats that could destroy entire civilizations? Not destroy, Dr. Park corrected gently. Help. Most of what you call threats aren't actually malicious. They're just confused or following outdated instructions. The Devourer units, for example, were originally built as stellar gardening equipment. They're supposed to maintain healthy star systems. But the danger, Janara began, is very real, Dr. Park agreed, which is why we take it seriously. Every human learns basic reality maintenance from childhood. It's as important as learning to read or do mathematics. He paused, then added something that made everyone in the room uncomfortable. The truth is, we've been preparing for this moment for a very long time. This moment? Corthan asked. First contact with a stable galactic civilization. We knew it would happen eventually. Every species encounters these cosmic anomalies as they expand beyond their home systems. And every species faces the same choice. Learn to handle the impossible, or watch reality tear apart around them. Dr. Park changed the display again. This time, it showed a map of the galaxy with hundreds of marked locations. These are the danger zones we monitor constantly. Dimensional weak points, broken ancient machinery, areas where reality is thin or unstable. Most galactic civilizations avoid these regions entirely, but they're spreading. The marked areas covered nearly a third of known space. What's your point, Dr. Park? Vextar asked, though he seemed afraid of the answer. The point is that avoidance doesn't work long-term. These anomalies grow over time. Eventually, they reach populated systems. When that happens, species have two choices: learn to fix them or lose entire sectors to cosmic instability. Dr. Park looked around the room, meeting each alien gaze. Humanity chose to learn. We've been the galaxy's repair crew for centuries, handling the threats too dangerous for developing civilizations to face. But we can't be everywhere at once. Pleaded one. Commander Gorth leaned back in his chair. You're saying you've been protecting the galaxy without anyone knowing? Protecting and maintaining, Dr. Park nodded. Reality requires active maintenance. Left alone, it tends to develop problems. Broken time streams, malfunctioning quantum states, escaped mathematical concepts that try to eat normal space. He activated another display showing incident reports. The list was impossibly long. Last month alone, we handled 6 dimensional collapses, 12 time paradox repairs, 3 reality storms, and 1 incident involving a sentient black hole that had learned to communicate through gravitational waves. It wanted to discuss philosophy. The representatives exchanged glances. Each one looked like they were reconsidering everything they thought they knew about the universe. Dr. Park, Janara said carefully, the legends about humanity, the stories that call your people monsters. They're about this, aren't they? Dr. Park's expression grew sad. Partly. When other species encounter these cosmic threats, they sometimes see human intervention. A ship appears out of nowhere, does impossible things, fixes problems that seem magical, then disappears. To a species that doesn't understand what's happening, we might look like monsters, Corthan finished quietly. The irony is that we're the opposite. We're what monsters fear. But from the outside, watching humans casually manipulate reality, to solve cosmic-level problems. I understand how it might seem terrifying. Dr. Park stood up and walked to the large viewport overlooking space. The reason we stayed isolated for so long wasn't because we wanted to avoid contact. It was because we were waiting for the galaxy to be ready for what we have to tell you. Which is? Vextar prompted. Dr. Park turned back to face them. That the universe is far more dangerous than you know. That the threats you've encountered so far are the minor ones. And that humanity can't handle everything alone anymore. He activated one final display. This one showed something moving in the vast darkness between galaxies. It was enormous, ancient, and clearly artificial. This is why we're finally making formal contact. Long-range sensors have detected something approaching from outside our galaxy. Something that makes devourers look simple. It will arrive in approximately 18 months. The thing in the image seemed to shift and change as they watched it, as if reality couldn't quite decide what it was supposed to look like. "What is it?" whispered HFY. "We're not entirely sure yet. But based on preliminary analysis, it's a construction project from a dead civilization. Something they built to escape a dying universe. And it's looking for a new place to live." Dr. Park looked around the room one more time. Humanity has been preparing for threats like this for centuries. But we can't face something this large alone. We need partners. We need a galaxy that understands what it's really up against. The silence that followed was deafening. Finally, Council Leader Vextar spoke. "Dr. Park, what exactly are you asking of us?" "Help, Doctor," Park said simply. "Learn what we can teach you. Work with us to maintain reality's stability. And prepare your people for a universe that's far stranger and more wonderful than they ever imagined." He gathered his materials and prepared to leave. "I'll return next week with our training protocols and a full briefing on cosmic threat management. In the meantime, I suggest you begin preparing your populations for some very interesting times." As Dr. Park reached the door, Corthan called out one final question. "The legends about humans. Are we right to fear you?" Dr. Park paused and looked back. "Commander, fear is what you feel when you don't understand something. Once you understand what we do and why we do it, you won't fear us. You'll be grateful we're here." He smiled sadly. "And you'll understand why we sometimes have nightmares about the things we hunt in the dark." 6 months after the Kepler sector incident, the galaxy had changed in ways no one could have imagined. The Interspecies Academy on Luna bustled with students from dozens of worlds, all learning what humans simply called reality maintenance. Young Elthari student Kai Lin walked through the halls beside her human classmate, a 12-year-old girl named Sarah Kim. They were heading to their afternoon class, Basic Dimensional Stability Theory. "I still can't believe this is normal for you," Kai Lin said, her melodic voice showing amazement. "Yesterday, we learned how to calculate quantum fluctuation patterns. At home, our children learn poetry and mathematics." Sarah grinned, adjusting her backpack full of equipment that would terrify most adult aliens. "Oh, this is the easy stuff. Wait until next semester when we start learning temporal paradox resolution. That's when things get really fun." They entered the classroom where Professor Martinez, the same woman who had communicated with the Devourer, was setting up holographic displays. "Today we'll be working with a real-time dimensional weak point," she announced cheerfully. "Nothing dangerous. Just a small reality fluctuation near Jupiter. We'll practice the standard stabilization procedures." Kai Lin watched in amazement as human children casually performed calculations that would challenge the greatest scientists of her homeworld. To them, preventing reality collapse was just homework. Meanwhile, in the council chambers on Harmony Point Station, the formal ceremony was beginning. Representatives from every known species had gathered for an unprecedented occasion. Council Leader Vex Tar stood before the assembled delegates. "Today, we officially recognize humanity not as members of the Galactic Council, but as the guardians of galactic civilization itself. The human delegation sat quietly in a section off to the side. Admiral Chen was there, along with Dr. Park and several other officials. They looked uncomfortable with the formal recognition. For centuries, Vex, Tar continued, humanity has protected our civilizations from threats we didn't even know existed. They have maintained the stability of reality itself, while asking for nothing in return. Ambassador Janara rose from her seat. The Elthari people wish to formally thank humanity for their service. Our homeworld exists today because human engineers quietly repaired a dimensional fracture that threatened our entire system. We never knew how close we came to complete erasure. Similar testimonies followed. Species after species revealed incidents where human intervention had saved them from cosmic threats. Each story painted a picture of humanity as silent guardians, working behind the scenes to keep the galaxy safe. But the most moving moment came when Commander Gorth stood. The proud Krellin warrior's voice was thick with emotion. The Krellin Empire attacked a human vessel without provocation. They could have destroyed our entire fleet. Instead, they disabled our ships with precision that showed they valued our lives more than their own safety. When we surrendered, they sent medical aid. He paused, struggling with words. We called them monsters. We were wrong. Monsters are what they hunt, so that we might sleep safely. Dr. Park finally stood when called upon to respond. He looked around the vast chamber filled with beings from across the galaxy. Thank you for your kind words, he began. But I need to be clear about something. Humanity doesn't want to be your guardians. We want to be your partners. The chamber fell silent. The threats out there are real and growing. The entity approaching from outside our galaxy is just one of many challenges we'll face in the coming centuries. Humanity can't handle everything alone. We need allies who understand the true nature of reality. He activated a holographic display showing the galaxy with hundreds of monitoring stations and response teams. This is our current threat monitoring network. Every red dot represents a cosmic anomaly that requires regular maintenance. Every yellow dot is a potential danger zone. The green dots are human response teams. The display showed the staggering scope of humanity's hidden operations. Thousands of ships, millions of personnel, all working to keep reality stable. We're offering to share this knowledge with any species willing to learn, not because we want servants, but because we need colleagues. The universe is vast and strange, and it takes many different perspectives to understand all its dangers. As the ceremony continued, Dr. Park's personal communication device vibrated with an urgent message. He read it discreetly, his expression growing serious. The message was from Deep Space Monitoring Station Alpha 7. New contact. Detected in Outer Rim. Classification. Unknown. Scale. Galactic. Estimated time to populated space. 4 hours. Recommend immediate response. Dr. Park quietly excused himself from the ceremony and stepped into a private communication booth. He activated his emergency channel to Admiral Chen. Admiral, we have a situation. Check your priority alerts. Chen's voice came back immediately. Already on it, Doctor. The fleet's mobilizing now. This one's different from anything in our databases. Different how? It's not attacking anything. It's not consuming matter or reality. It's just traveling. But it's massive. Bigger than anything we've ever seen. And Doctor, it's heading directly for Council space. Dr. Park felt a familiar mixture of excitement and concern. ETA? At current speed, it'll reach the Harmony Point system in about 4 hours. And Doctor? It's broadcasting a signal. Mathematical sequences, but not in any language we recognize. We think it might be trying to communicate. Back in the ceremony hall, the formal recognition of humanity was reaching its conclusion. But Dr. Park knew that in a few hours, the galaxy would face something new. Something that would test everything they had learned about cosmic threats. He activated his communication device one more time, Admiral, implement Protocol 7. Full diplomatic first contact procedures. And, get me, Dr. Martinez. If this thing is trying to talk, we need our best linguists ready. Copy that. And Doctor, should I inform the council? Dr. Park looked back through the doorway at the ceremony still in progress. Beings from across the galaxy celebrating humanity's role as protectors. They had finally accepted that the universe was strange and dangerous. But they weren't ready for what was coming. Not yet, he decided. Let them finish the ceremony. They'll find out soon enough. As he prepared to leave for the emergency response, Dr. Park couldn't help but smile slightly. Whatever was approaching, it was clearly intelligent. It was trying to communicate, and it was heading for the most diverse gathering of species in galactic history. Perhaps it had heard about the ceremony. Perhaps it wanted to meet the civilizations that had finally learned to work together against cosmic threats. Or perhaps it was something else entirely. Something that would require all of humanity's experience and all of the galaxy's new understanding to handle safely. Either way, it was going to be an interesting day. Dr. Park activated his emergency transport beacon and began composing a message to Earth Command. Unknown entity, approaching council space. Initial classification, potentially friendly but unimaginably powerful. Recommend immediate dispatch of diplomatic first contact fleet. This one's too big for standard protocols. As he waited for transport, Dr. Park watched the ceremony through the doorway. The galaxy had finally accepted humanity's role as cosmic guardians. Now they would all discover together what other wonders and challenges the universe had in store. The transport beam activated, pulling him away to face the unknown. Behind him, the ceremony continued, unaware that the galaxy was about to become a much more interesting place. In the end, that was what humanity did best. They stood ready to face the impossible, to protect those who couldn't protect themselves, and to find diplomatic solutions to problems that seemed unsolvable. Today would be no different. Just another Tuesday in the life of the galaxy's gardeners. The universe was vast and strange, but it was also full of friends humanity hadn't met yet. And, if they were very lucky, what was approaching would turn out to be one of them.